Well, it's season 3, and Merle got a great deal renting a seaside mansion named Dragon House. I wonder why it was such a good deal.
My name is D. Lanier Shook, and I am the information collector. Today, producer Merle and I are coming to you from Greer City Hall, which is at the heart of the Greer City Park, which is an amazing area. The investment that Greer has made in the quality of life is incredible. Wherever you are, if you are looking for a residence or a business location in the Atlanta, Charlotte area, Greer is the place to look. And it's a beautiful area. Later, I'll get a chance to show you the rest of the park. But right now, I just want to wish you happy 4th of July and happy birthday to the United States of America. We thank God for his continued blessing on us and our nation, and that we pray he will continue to bless our government to allow us to live peaceably in the United States of America. And we remember all those from our founding to today who have sacrificed to make this possible. And I have to warn you that we're using a new teleprompter system today, so if something goes awry, that's what's up. And Merle and Kermit are making sure everything runs correctly. What was that? Okay. Last Monday, Alcoa Aluminum announced the sale of its East Alco smelter site in Frederick, Maryland. The 2,100 acres were purchased for $100 million by Quantum Loophole and a real estate partner, wherein they intend to construct Maryland's first gigawatt-scale data center community. This is significant. During the past year, we've seen a lot of people working from home, and this reflects the trend. See, Frederick, Maryland is right outside the DC, Northern Virginia area, which, by the way, traffic in DC is terrible. I know this. Quantum Loophole's master plan is it's a master planned clean cloud community. They tout it as the first of its kind, and the data will be less. Whoa, that's a nice firework. Anyway, the data, in less than a millisecond, data can get from there to Northern Virginia, where these folks used to have worked. They're not going to have to fight traffic all the way there. This is going to be set up in less than a year. And Greer is the place this stuff is happening. If you are looking at Atlanta, if you're looking at Charlotte, look at Greer. Later in the report, I'll talk about Gainesville, Georgia, which I was in not that long. Gainesville's amazing. It's booming. It's growing. Why? Because it's outside Atlanta. People can live there, and they can telecommute. So this is a big trend, and Quantum Loophole is a company to watch to see how this plays out. And Greer is a place to look at for something like that in the upstate. Last Friday, the Department of Transportation announced nearly $1 billion in infrastructure awards. This is part of the Infrastructure for Rebuilding America. It will benefit 24 projects in 18 states. Here are just a few highlights. $70 million for the I-465, I-69 interchange in Indianapolis. $18 million toward bike lanes, crosswalk marking, pedestrian and bus boarding islands. You know, a big wide street, they put an island in the middle so that pedestrians don't have to make a run for it across the entire street. I've heard the streets in Salt Lake City are so wide, they actually have flags on either side people carry when they cross the street, you know, so they don't get hit. But that's what they're doing in Los Angeles. They're putting islands in the middle of the streets for pedestrians to hang out at when they're trying to cross the street. They're going to put in shade trees and stormwater capture systems and 26 new traffic signals at 90 intersections in Los Angeles. $5 million will be going to Dubquay's Dove Harbor to renovate a 12,000-ton fertilizer storage shed, upgrade an unused rail track, and upgrade barge unloading facilities. And this has a lot to do with fertilizer production. $25 million for a new interchange on I-25 at Los Lunas, New Mexico. $50 million to the I-35 Red River project, which includes interstate widening and replacing bridges. This would be in Texas and Oklahoma. $60 million to improve 3 miles of I-494 at the Minneapolis-St. Paul Airport. $17 million for passing lanes in rural, ooh, that's nice. $17 million for passing lanes in rural North Dakota. $49 million for a roll-on, roll-off vessel berth at the Port of Philadelphia. This is significant because these ships, they're like civilian landing craft. They don't have to use a crane to get stuff off. You can literally drive the stuff off of the ship. So this is not just commercial. This right here, that is national security. $46 million to construct an inland port in Hall County, Georgia, near Gainesville. It's 324 miles of rail service from Savannah, and it's going to be put on 104 acres with 6 railroad tracks next to I-85. Now, this is a good time to mention. If you take this street, right, there's a street right there, and if you take it down toward a town called Duncan, between Duncan and Greer, there's an inland port. It is stacked with cargo containers like shoeboxes. Rail cars bring them up from the Port of Charleston, and from there, trucks carry them all over the place. It's an amazing, it's one reason why Greer is such an amazing place. I mean, you've got to look it up. Gainesville is going to get one of these things to connect to Savannah. Last Wednesday, the Space Development Agency launched its first 2 satellites. This is a DoD agency. It's a self-announced, quote, constructive disruptor for space acquisition, end quote. The SDA provides space-based capabilities to the terrestrial warfighter, and they have a self-declared 2-year capability development window, which basically means it can go from idea to in space in 2 years. We'll see if it happens. The launch carried 2 satellites into orbit on a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket. One was Mandrake 2 is an optical communication terminal satellite that will be in a low-range Earth orbit with a communication range of about 1,500 miles. Wow, those are some good fireworks. Now, this is an exciting trend because their overview of the Mandrake 2 mentioned Seekr Engineering, S-E-A-K-R, which is a primary contractor for DARPA's newest generation of small surveillance satellites, which will launch next year, called Blackjack Constellation. And satellites used to be bigger, have more involved. Well, now they can be smaller, and this is great because anti-satellite technology is becoming more and more advanced, not to mention all this space junk up there. So if you've got one big satellite and it gets hit by anything and it goes down, it's down. But if you've got 20 small satellites, you only lose 1/5 of your capability if one gets hit. And this is significant because another project they sent up, Laser Interconnect Networking Communication Systems, LINKS, will be testing connections between the satellite and an MQ-9 Reaper UAV. Those are the ones that carry the little laser-guided anti-tank missiles that President Obama really got famous for sending after terrorists. I mean, that was our choice of weapon against those terrorists. And this is testing a direct communications link. In fact, they emphasized in their press release, optical links increase the bandwidth that they can talk on and are difficult to detect and disrupt. And I've heard this before, not just this, fighter planes are operating, they now are using infrared heat beams to communicate between them because you can hear radio chatter on the, you can pick it up, you can detect it, and some missiles can even home in on it, anti-radiation missiles. But you can't hear infrared, and they're doing the same thing here. Now, another thing, the prototype on-orbit experimental testbed, POET, will be working with targeting systems, and this is interesting, particularly working with a system called Custody Layer Data Fusion. It's developing the automation of acquiring and maintaining targets. They are testing an automatic target recognition algorithm, and they will also be able to fold in third-party algorithms from companies to create and work with a battle management command, control, and communication system. Now, this is an important system to help maintain our edge against bad guys around the world. But you've heard of this before. It's called Skynet. And this is not Skynet. It's not going to be Skynet. But in the Terminator movies, when you look up Skynet, the systems I just described, they're the foundation of Skynet. Because we're talking about a computer finding, acquiring, and targeting, and keeping a target lock on a target. So this is very impressive, and it's something to watch.